Hey there, and welcome to Family Revenge. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay with us for every twist and turn. Let's jump right in. It hit me like a slap to the face, sharp, fast, and in front of a crowd. There we were, packed into my parents' backyard, everyone smiling and clapping as my brother yanked off the satin cloth like he was hosting some damn awards show. And underneath, this big custom sculpture. Polished brass plates spiraling up like a DNA helix, each little name tag screwed in with care. People gasped, cheered. Phones came out, flashes going off. I stood near the back, holding a glass of flat champagne, trying to smile like everyone else. My name was supposed to be on that thing. My name's Nadine. I'm 31. I live in Portland, Oregon. Quick note. Before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. I paid 1/3 of that sculpture. Wrote the check myself after my sister Elena texted, "Just send your third, we got it covered." Don't worry about the design, it's a surprise. I remember pausing when she said that, but I let it go. They were always the planners, the fun ones. I was just the one who showed up on time and footed part of the bill. So now everyone's crowding around, taking selfies, pointing at names, names of cousins, spouses, even the damn family dog, Coconut. I weave through the group, pretending to look for someone, scanning each side of the sculpture. My eyes catch Elena Boss Babe, Simmons. Jason and Liz, high school sweethearts. Nana Joe, 1927 to 2019. Coconut, the real MVP. I go around twice, 3 times. I don't see mine. No Nadine. No nickname. No plate. And suddenly, I feel this cold burn crawling up my spine. Like I'm 12 again and just got forgotten for carpool. I don't say anything. I don't yell. I don't cry. I just step back from the sculpture, walk toward the house, and slip through the sliding door while everyone's still clapping for my brother's speech. Inside, it's quiet. You can still hear the laughter and music muffled through the glass. I go straight down the hall to the guest bathroom, shut the door, turn the lock, and sit down on the edge of the tub. I stare at my hands. They're shaking. Not from sadness, from rage. But still, not surprised. Not really. I sat there on the edge of the tub, elbows on my knees, fingers locked together like I was praying to something. Maybe logic, maybe patience, maybe just my own sanity. The light above the mirror buzzed. The vent hummed. I stared at my hands like they could explain how I'd just vanished from my own damn family. I mentally walked through every step. Sent the payment 3 months ago. $1,200. Elena texted, "Just Venmo me. We'll split it with Jason, no details, no mock-ups." Just that smug little, we didn't want to overcomplicate things. At the time, I told myself to let it go. Like always, don't be the squeaky wheel. Don't be intense. My stomach burned. Not from sadness, not even embarrassment, just raw insult. 20 minutes passed, maybe 25. I stood up, flushed the toilet for effect, and washed my hands like I'd just stepped away to pee. I walked back outside like nothing happened. The yard was still packed. Lawn chairs scattered, kids blowing bubbles near the fence, an aunt laughing too loud near the cake table. Near the punch bowl, my parents stood side by side. Mom in her floral maxi dress, Dad in that faded polo he swears is retro, both beaming like they'd just been knighted. I walked straight up, calm, flat. Not smiling, but not frowning either. "Hey," I said, nodding at the sculpture. "Is someone missing from the engraving?" My mom glanced over without missing a beat. "Oh, honey," she said, tilting her head like I was asking if I'd left the oven on. "We figured you wouldn't want to be on it." "You're not big on sentiment?" I blinked. "Not big on sentiment." "Yeah," my dad added, chuckling. "We thought you'd call it cheesy." "You always hated that stuff." I smiled, tight, mechanical. "Got it," I said, and that was it. No one else turned. No one noticed. No one asked if I was okay or why I disappeared for half an hour. I could have choked on the cheap shrimp skewers, and I doubt anyone would have paused the playlist. I set my glass down on the snack table and left the party around 9. No hugs, no goodbyes, just slipped out like I never really arrived. At home, I kicked off my shoes and opened my laptop. My browser still had that folder bookmarked. Family projects. I hadn't clicked it in over a year. Inside, screenshots of old Venmo receipts, PDFs of group budgets I'd made and no one followed, chat transcripts where I was left on read. I even found that original message from Elena. "We're thinking brass. Might get Coconut's paw print on there too. Just send your third. We'll handle the details." Of course they put the dog on it. I clicked over to my email, typed in time capsule, and found the original invoice. Custom sculpture, $3,600. Split three ways. Mine was the first payment received. I kept digging. Group texts where I asked questions and got no replies. Doodles of design ideas I made on my lunch break. A spreadsheet I sent with color-coded tabs for vendors. None of it mattered. Because when it came time to carve names into metal, permanent, polished, public, they cut me out. Not because they forgot, because it was easier. Because we didn't want to overcomplicate things. I sat there at the kitchen table, screen glowing in my face, scrolling through every little receipt and archived photo, hands clenched tight in my lap. And I thought, no, new. They never saw me as part of it. Not really, not in the way that counts, not in a way they'd ever own. I kept scrolling, not looking for anything new, just watching the pattern repeat. Same tone, same erasure, same damn cycle. It wasn't just this sculpture, it never was. My family ran on noise. Laugh louder than you listen kind of noise. Big personalities, bigger performances. Every conversation was a chance to roast someone, interrupt, twist someone's words into a joke. That was survival in our house. You either learned to clap back fast or got steamrolled. I learned to stay quiet. Not because I didn't have thoughts. I just didn't see the point in shouting to be heard when no one was listening. When I did speak up, I was too blunt, or awkward, or too intense. That one was my mom's favorite. You're too intense, Nadine. Just lighten up, sweetie. I was being direct. They made it sound like I was stabbing people with words. I remember one Thanksgiving when I corrected Jason on a science fact at the table. Everyone laughed. Elena mimed a robot voice and said, actually, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, like I was some glitchy computer. My parents didn't stop it. They're just teasing, my mom said. Don't be so sensitive. Right, because my feelings were always the problem. By middle school, I was reading etiquette books like survival guides, highlighting pages, practicing facial expressions in the mirror, memorizing safe responses. Small talk drained me, but rules made sense. Biology made sense. Computer programming clicked in a way people didn't. People broke rules, moved goalposts, changed their tone mid-sentence, and still expected you to follow. Code didn't do that. I got my autism diagnosis when I was 26. I wasn't even looking for it. I was scrolling a forum about burnout, and someone described masking so well it felt like they'd punched me in the chest. I spent 3 weeks researching, making lists, checking every box. Then I booked the assessment. It wasn't a revelation, it was a relief. Finally, something that explained why I was always the problem child without being a broken version of everyone else. I told my family during brunch at Elena's. She smirked and said, "Oh, come on, that's just trendy now." Jason said nothing, just sipped his beer. My mom literally laughed. You, Nadine, you're fine. You're just serious. You don't have that. My dad waved it off. Don't start labeling yourself. You're not sick. You're just different. And that was it. No one asked follow-ups. No one tried to understand. I could have said I was abducted by aliens and they'd have taken it more seriously. But I kept showing up. Birthdays, dinners, group chats. Paid for things when they were short. Drove 3 hours once to help Elena move. Watched Jason's kids when his sitter bailed. I never said no. Even when they left me out, I still contributed. I still asked how mom's back was doing, if dad's car got fixed, if the kids needed anything for school. I thought maybe if I kept showing up, they'd eventually see me as part of the family. Not a project to manage, not a glitch to ignore. I thought dependability counted for something. But it didn't. Not to them. Because when it came time to make something permanent, something that was supposed to represent us, they didn't forget me. They removed me. Like a typo. Like a loose thread that didn't match the aesthetic. I sat back in my chair, the hum of the fridge filling the room, laptop glowing. There wasn't a single thing I could point to and say, that's when it started. It wasn't one thing. It was a pattern. And patterns tell the truth. They always have. I closed the laptop and didn't cry. Didn't rage. Didn't even sigh. I just made a decision. Not a speech. Not a warning. No messy confrontation. I didn't need their attention to leave. I just stopped. First thing I did was open the shared family app, the one we used to manage household stuff, holidays, and whatever group gift my siblings had decided to force that month. I clicked Leave Group, confirmed it, that was it. Then I pulled up my bank app, canceled the automatic transfer I'd set up for my parents' property taxes. It wasn't a huge amount, but I'd been chipping in quietly since mom's surgery 2 years ago. They never asked me to. I just thought it was the right thing to do. Done. A few hours later, I got a Venmo request from Elena. Caption, event decor. I stared at it for 5 seconds. Then I hit decline. No note, no reply, just no. The next day, a group chat pinged. Elena. Hey all, we're chipping in for Cammie's baby shower gift. Nadine, can you grab the crib mattress? I didn't respond. I didn't open the link. I didn't care. And for a little while, nothing happened. Like I'd slipped into the background and no one noticed I was gone. Until someone did. It started in the group thread. Jason. Did anyone get Nadine's portion? Elena. She's probably overwhelmed again. Overwhelmed, right. That was their favorite word for me. The neat little label they slapped on everything they didn't want to deal with. A few hours later, a voice note popped up from Elena. Her voice was syrupy. Hey Nade, just checking in, okay? We're all a little confused by your silence, but we want to give you space. That said, we do need to finalize the payment for the gift by Friday, so just let me know when you can send that over. I played it once, deleted it before it could finish. Then came the voicemail from Mom. Her voice cracked like she'd been practicing tears in the mirror. Honey, I know you're upset, but please don't let one misunderstanding destroy the whole family dynamic. We love you. Things just got messy, that's all. Call me back, okay? I didn't. I deleted that too, because it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was math. It was action. It was names carved into brass. Mine missing, everyone else present, even the dog. They could call it a mistake, a mix-up, oversight, whatever made them feel better. But I knew the truth. They liked having me around when I was useful. When I picked up the slack, paid on time, remembered birthdays, booked reservations, filled the fridge, asked about doctor appointments, sent thinking of you cards. But not enough to include, not enough to honor, not enough to even etch 5 letters into a sculpture that'll outlive all of us. I didn't scream. I didn't confront anyone. I didn't need to. I just stopped. No drama, no reply, just silence. And for the first time in my life, the silence felt like peace. I left my phone face down on the counter for 2 days. When I finally flipped it over, my inbox had 87 unread messages. One of them had a subject line that made me pause. Speaker spot open. Live stream summit on adult autism and inclusion. It was from a nonprofit I donated to once, maybe twice. The email said a featured speaker dropped out last minute. They liked a blog post I'd written last year, short, nothing flashy, and wanted to know if I'd step in. At first, I hovered over delete. I wasn't a speaker. I wasn't polished. I wasn't the kind of person people invited to talk on camera. But something in me didn't move. So I opened the reply box and typed one word. Yes. The event was streamed live 3 days later. I didn't rehearse some grand speech. No dramatic story arc, just facts, clear and steady. I sat in my office, webcam propped on a stack of textbooks, hoodie zipped to my chin, laptop balanced on a heating pad because the desk chair still sucked. I want to tell you about a woman, I said. She helped pay for a custom sculpture that listed the names of everyone in her family. Siblings, cousins, grandkids, even the dog. I let that sit, just for a second. But hers wasn't there. No names, no cities, no callouts. She didn't confront anyone, didn't cause a scene, she just left, quietly, the way people like her usually do, because they've already spent their whole life being told they're too much and not enough at the same time. That was it. 15 minutes. One story, I closed the tab and made lunch. Thought maybe 30 people watched it. By morning, the clip had hit 6,000 views. 2 days later, it was on TikTok. By the end of the week, one post had over 200,000 likes. Caption, her name wasn't on the sculpture. The family dog's was, and then came the comments. Someone found the original post Elena's company made weeks earlier, the one with the sculpture, all shiny and perfect, captioned, a tribute to family legacy, built with love and laughter. They zoomed in on the brass tags, counted the names. People started asking questions. Wait, isn't this the sculpture from the video? Is that coconut? There's 117 names on here. Where's hers? I didn't say a word, didn't reply. Just sat back and watched the internet connect the dots like it was a damn group project. Then came the duets, the breakdowns, people dissecting every detail, timestamping clips, comparing screenshots, stitching my story next to her post. And suddenly, it wasn't just about me. People started posting their own stories, left off wedding invites, excluded from group photos. We didn't think you'd care. You're not the sentimental type. We didn't want drama. One woman stitched the video with a picture of a gravestone, her father's, said her name wasn't listed as his daughter because stepchildren don't count. It exploded. And Elena? She stayed silent for 3 days. Then she posted a statement. Classic PR word salad. We support all lived experiences and regret any perceived harm caused by a recent miscommunication involving a personal family project. We remain committed to inclusivity and emotional wellness. No apology, no responsibility. Just buzzwords. The comments shredded it. Miscommunication? The dog got a nameplate? Emotional wellness? Y'all erased your own blood. Be inclusive unless it's your sister, I guess. People started tagging the brands she worked with. Screenshots circulated, LinkedIn updates, even her company bio got dragged. Advocate for authenticity and belonging. Sure, as long as you match the aesthetic. And all I did was tell the truth. No rage, no names, no pitchforks. Just one story about one woman who paid for something she'd never be a part of. I closed my laptop and went back to work like nothing happened, logged into Slack, answered emails, fixed some back-end code for a university database project that had been dragging for weeks. Business as usual. But the internet doesn't do usual, not once it smells blood. Within 48 hours, Elena's company started bleeding. The same brand that built its entire image on emotional wellness, safe spaces, and neurodivergent inclusivity was now trending for all the wrong reasons. The comments were relentless. You talk about neurodivergence but erased your own sister? Inclusivity for everyone, except the one person you actually owe something to? I used to look up to this brand. Now I just see a fake influencer who'd filmed a makeup collab with Elena's team, posted a video dumping the products, said she couldn't work with hypocrites. A model dropped out of their fall campaign. Sponsors paused deals. One of the press pieces even pulled their previous feature with a blunt note at the top. This article has been removed due to inconsistencies in the company's stated values. Elena tried to keep it under control. She posted another statement. This one was longer, but just as hollow. We acknowledge the recent social media activity surrounding our family and regret any miscommunication that may have caused confusion or distress. Our goal remains to support healing and unity confusion. Distress, miscommunication. They treated it like a scheduling conflict, like someone just mixed up the dates. Meanwhile, my face was being clipped into memes. People were using my words over background music. One guy animated the sculpture, zoomed in on coconut, and added a cartoon version of me watching from behind a bush. I didn't share anything else. I didn't post, tweet, reply, or email a single word. But that didn't stop the knock at my door. Wednesday morning, 10:02. 3 polite knocks. I opened it and saw a guy in a gray jacket holding a manila envelope. Are you Nadine Simmons? I nodded. You've been served. He walked off before I could blink. The envelope was thick, stapled along the edge. Legal format, cease and desist. Notice of civil complaint, defamation and reputational harm. It read like a bad script, spreading a misleading narrative. Targeted damage to public reputation. Intentional emotional distress. There it was, their real response. Not an apology, not a phone call, just an attempt to legally shut me up. No one from the family texted. No, are you okay? No, this wasn't my idea. Just the sound of a printer ink still drying on a lawsuit I didn't ask for. I stood in the hallway, still holding the envelope, thumb smudging one of the legal stamps. Not shaking, not crying. Just locked in, because they didn't file this out of hurt. They filed it to scare me, to shut me down before I said anything else. Problem was, I hadn't said that much to begin with. I hadn't even said their names. I dropped the envelope on the kitchen table and pulled my laptop back out. I didn't panic, I didn't spiral. I just typed, civil litigation attorneys near me. The third result was a woman named Shay Parker, sharp face, no frills. Her website looked like it hadn't been updated since 2014. That made me trust her more. We met 2 days later. Her office smelled like burnt coffee and printer toner. She wore no makeup and didn't ask how I was feeling. She just flipped open the folder I brought and said, "Did you lie?" I met her eyes. No. Then they screwed up. That was it. That's all she needed. We filed our response and went to court 3 weeks later. It was one of those modern courthouse rooms. Clean carpet, plastic chairs, humming a sea that made you freeze the second you sat down. Elena wore a beige suit like she was headed to a board meeting. Her lawyer looked like a retired game show host. Mine wore black, no jewelry, just a pen in her hand and a file that was thicker than theirs. When it was our turn, I took the stand. Not nervous, just steady. I told the story exactly how it happened. I paid for the sculpture, I said, 1/3 of the cost. You have a receipt? The judge asked. I nodded. Shay handed it over. Venmo screenshots, invoice, time-stamped email. Then came the photos. A slideshow of close-up shots from the mural. 117 names. Here, Shay said, pointing with a capped pen. We've got Grandpa Joe, the king of BBQ, Cousin Lexi, boss babe in training, and, yes, Sir Nibbles, 2008 to 2012. That was the family hamster, correct? I didn't speak, just nodded once. The judge leaned forward. Your name isn't on it? No, sir. Elena's lawyer stood. Polished voice, practiced tone. Your Honor, this sculpture was symbolic, not meant to be an exact list. It was a celebration of family spirit. Shay stood immediately. Symbolic? She clicked her remote, zoomed in. Here we have job titles, nicknames, even paw prints. Seems pretty exact to me. He tried again. We believe Miss Simmons is misrepresenting the intention of the artwork to damage my client's business. Shay raised one eyebrow. Let's talk about intention. She handed the judge a printed email. One of Elena's assistants had leaked it to us. Elena said leaving her off would make it less messy. The courtroom went still. The judge read the line twice, looked up at me. You paid for this? Yes. Your name's not on it? No. He let out a breath and leaned back. Case dismissed. Just like that. Defendant is not liable. Plaintiff will cover all legal fees and court costs. We're done here. Elena didn't look at me. Her lawyer didn't even pack his papers. He just left them on the table and walked out first. I didn't celebrate, didn't gloat, just stood, gathered my folder, and walked out behind Shay. On the steps outside, she finally looked at me and said, Want me to frame the dismissal for your wall? I smirked. Nah, I'm good because I didn't need to hang it up. I already knew what it meant. They wanted to scare me, shut me up, prove I didn't belong. But now it was on the record. I did. The sun hit my face as I stepped off the courthouse steps. It was a little too bright, but I didn't squint. I just kept walking. By the time I got home, the emails had already started. Elena's investors were reevaluating the partnership. A vague PR statement went out that afternoon about strategic restructuring, but the spiral had already started. 3 days later, another lawsuit surfaced. This one came from inside, a former employee who'd been on the spectrum too. She posted a video on LinkedIn, calm as hell, talking about how Elena's company underpaid her, sidelined her ideas, used her diagnosis for branding, then pushed her out. Screenshots followed. Salary breakdowns, emails, memos, it caught fire. And just like that, the image Elena built, the polished pastel, self-care empire, went up in flames. Sponsors ghosted. One by one, the logos disappeared from the website. The online store closed for updates. Staff started posting goodbye messages that read more like escape letters. The final nail came 6 months later. A blurry courthouse photo of Elena walking out with sunglasses on and no wedding ring. Someone in the comments said the office was officially shut down. No farewell post, no closure, just poof. Gone. And our parents? They didn't say a word to me. Not after the trial, not during the fallout, not once. I didn't expect them to defend me. But I guess I thought they'd, I don't know, something. Instead, silence. Then one afternoon, I got copied on a group email by mistake. It was from my aunt, asking for the new address. Something about holiday cards. I scrolled down and saw the signature block. Frank and Marlene Simmons, 1239 Marigold Terrace, Unit B. That's how I found out they sold the house. The same house we had every birthday in. The one I helped repaint after Mom's back surgery. The one I chipped in to keep them from refinancing during COVID. Sold, no call, no update. No, we're moving if you want to come by and grab anything. Just quietly gone, like they were hoping I wouldn't notice. Like it would be easier to pretend I'd never been part of it at all. No holiday invite came, no Merry Christmas text, nothing for my birthday, no forwarded baby photos, no, can you believe it's been a year? Check in, and the wildest part? I felt nothing. No panic, no sting, no ache in my chest, just stillness, relief. Because for the first time, it was clear. No blurred lines, no gaslighting, no guessing. They made the choice for me, and I didn't miss them. not their voices, not the drama, not the roles they always expected me to play. I wasn't erased. I just walked out of the room and closed the door behind me. I closed the inbox and didn't open it again for a week. Instead, I opened a new tab and typed, autism affirming therapists near me. Not someone to fix me. Not someone to help me cope with being too much. I wanted someone who didn't flinch when I said I hated group dynamics or skipped eye contact when I was thinking. I found her on page 2 of the search results. Dr. Patel. No butterflies or puzzle pieces on her site, just her face, a list of credentials, and one sentence that made me stop scrolling. We don't treat autistic people like problems to solve. I booked a session. Then I kept going. Week after week, I sat on her couch, not talking about how to fit in, but unpacking how long I'd spent trying to shrink myself into other people's expectations. I'd masked for 3 decades, mimicked the right laughs, the safe expressions, the tone that made people comfortable. And for what? A nameplate that never got made? A spot at a table where I was never really wanted? I stopped trying to decode it, stopped reading their silence like a language I just hadn't learned yet. It wasn't about love, it was about power, control, performance, and I was done performing. Somewhere in the middle of all that, I met someone. His name was Caleb. He was a marine geologist who could talk about trilobites for 2 hours straight, then not speak for the rest of the day. I met him at a local science museum during an adult night event. We both reached for the same outdated fossil identification chart. I said, "You first." He said, "I already know what it says." That was it. We sat near the saltwater tank afterward, quietly watching a sea cucumber move an inch every 10 minutes. He didn't ask personal questions, didn't push for small talk. We just sat. Comfortable silence. It felt like breathing. Over the next few weeks, we went on slow walks by the river. No music, no forced conversation. He didn't fill silences with noise. He never looked uncomfortable when I was blunt. If anything, he looked relieved. He once said, "I like how you don't talk in circles." I didn't have to mask around him. I didn't have to explain why I needed to cancel plans or why I couldn't handle too many textures in a meal. He just got it. And if he didn't, he asked. Direct questions, no judgment. That was all I'd ever needed. Not someone to fix me, not someone to applaud me for tolerating things that hurt, just someone who saw me without squinting. I stopped trying to earn space at tables I wasn't built for. I had my own now. It didn't come with applause or matching outfits or photo walls. It came with quiet mornings, fossil hunts, and someone who didn't need me to be easier to love. And maybe that's what real life is, not the one they write speeches about. Just one that finally makes sense. Caleb and I sat on the back porch, shoes kicked off, a blanket around our legs, watching the sky burn into orange. I'd filmed the video earlier that afternoon. No makeup, no edits, just me on the couch with my phone propped against a water glass. I didn't write a script, I didn't rehearse. I just pressed record and said, it wasn't loud. It wasn't a fight. It was just a sculpture with 117 names. I helped pay for it. Mine wasn't there. I let that sit for a second. I didn't walk away out of anger. I walked away because I finally realized they were never going to walk toward me. That was it. No names, no jabs, no hashtags. I posted it around 5. By the time we'd eaten dinner, the comments were already rolling in. I thought I was the only one. My dad left me off the family tree. Thank you for saying this. This broke me and healed me at the same time. Some were paragraphs, some were just crying emojis or hearts. A few were angry, more were grateful. But I didn't scroll. I turned my phone face down and slid it to the far end of the table. Caleb handed me a mug of tea, still warm. He didn't say anything, didn't ask how I felt. He knew. We sat there, watching the sun dip lower, a bird calling out in the trees like it didn't care who heard it. And for the first time, I didn't wonder what my family thought. I didn't wonder if they saw the video, or if someone screenshot it, or if a cousin was texting in a group chat I'd never been in. I didn't care, because the truth was out. Calm, clear, unshakable. And it wasn't for them anyway. It was for whoever needed to hear it, the kid who always got teased, the adult who kept showing up hoping someone would finally notice, the quiet one who got left out of everything but the cleanup. I didn't post it to reopen anything. I posted it because it was already over. I'd stopped chasing a seat at their table. I had mine now, right here,